Hi, and welcome to Changing Steps with me, Belinda. You're going to love our show this week. Last week, we talked with teen moms. This week, we're going to talk to dads who actually got custody of their kids while they were in their teens. Can you just imagine? And they're raising them today to be prosperous kids. So stay tuned. Welcome to our show.
I had an average childhood. I grew up in Long Beach, California, with my aunt. My mother wasn't around too often. I did know my father. My father died in 1990 in a car crash in Carson when I was 2. It was different growing up without any male figures around. It was my mom, my auntie, and my grandma that raised me. So there wasn't much of a male figure in my life growing up. Not having a father around didn't affect me too much as people would think it would. I still had a strong structure of life, and women in my life were very positive and strong women. My auntie was a very key part of my life growing up. I lived with her probably from the age of 6 on. And she's an ex-military woman, so everything was tightly ran in the house. There was no extra things going on. Kept me out of trouble, school every day. She kept me in sports, track, football, basketball, boys and girls club, summer day camp, any and everything. There was never a dull time in life growing up. There was always something, anything to keep me out the streets. High school was a little tougher due to me having a child. My auntie played a very key factor in that, helping watch him while I went to school, and then until I got home, when I got done with football practice or basketball practice, still let me do all the things that I wanted to while she watched him. I still went to prom, all those things, dated, still had a social life. So she played a real key factor in that. The mother of my child, I met her in high school. And we were high school sweethearts. She ended up pregnant in 11th grade, my 11th grade year. From there, it kind of went downhill. When my son was born, she wasn't quite ready for the responsibility just yet, at the age of 15. She dropped the baby off one day, and she told me that she would be back. And I can't lie and say she said when she would be back, but she never came back. And I didn't see her anymore at school. And slowly but surely, I started to realize that she had moved away. And I haven't seen her since. She's never been in touch with her child before. Basically, she pretty much left my son with me to raise him. It was rough for me in the very beginning. I'm the only child, so I never grew up around any other babies or children. I didn't know anything about them, how to change a diaper, anything like that. It was all learning on the fly for me. My son changed my life for the better. Children keep you out of a lot of trouble. Keep you in the house, keep you away from drugs, alcohol, gangs, all the things that are going on in the inner city. If you're in the house, you tend to not have a lot of time to find those things. You worry more about formula and changing the diaper and wipes instead of who's going out tonight or who's playing tonight. Being a father means to me getting up every morning on time, being responsible, making sure that everything's taken care of, not just for yourself, but for them. It's a huge responsibility. It gives you a reason to get up every morning with a purpose. It makes me feel good about myself and everything I'm doing and all the sacrifices I make, and just a little big old bundle of joy. Going to his football games and his track meets and his basketball games now, I understand the joy that it can bring. It's not all just about money, sometimes it's about just watching them growing up. I wish for them to grow up strong, healthy, in the right environment, learn how to do things the right way, staying out of trouble, getting into college. In 10 years from now, I'll see myself hopefully out of debt with a house, a nice car, and a place for me and my son. In 10 years, actually, my son will be graduating from high school. So hopefully, we'll be in a better place than we are now. I found Changing Steps through a childhood friend of mine who introduced me to Miss Garcia. Miss Garcia has been something like a surrogate mother to us. She's around when I need her, someone to talk to, someone that's in my life to give me advice when I'm going through like hard times, when I'm struggling. I mean, I can always count on her.
Okay, Anthony, I am so proud of you. You have accomplished so much. You've worked so hard. I know things have been really tough for you. And I just wanted to tell you that I'm very proud and I commend you on all your acts as a father.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to tell you thank you for getting back on track as far as going back to school. I know it was a bit hard for you for a minute. You know, you went through a bit of a depression state. You've come out of that greatly. You have went back to school now, and we're back on track as far as you going back to get your MBA. You're going to be graduating. You have 1 year left, correct?
Yes.
Good. So after you complete this year, and you want to go into what?
Human resources.
What are our goals we're going to set for that for you?
Hopefully a human resource internship by the summer.
Internship. So we need to start looking into human resources and for internship. I'm going to get you some referrals for that. Okay, so that's good then. Teen father, you've grown into such a wonderful young man. I've seen you progress just tremendously. So I just want to tell you congratulations. I love you, and I want to wish you your continued success.
And I want to thank you for everything that you've done for me, Miss Garcia.
You're very welcome.
I know it's been a tough couple of years, but we made it through, and me and my son, thank you for that.
You guys are so welcome, just like my kids now, just my two sons that I never had. I'm really just thankful that you came through our Changing Steps and we were able to help you and bring you through some of your trials and tribulations and be there for you.
We'll be right back with more Changing Steps with Belinda. For more information, or if you'd like to be on our show, contact me at 323-757-7146. Or you can email me at changingstepsinc@aol.com.
High school was a little tougher due to me having a child. Yeah, it was rough for me in the very beginning. You know, I'm the only child. I didn't know anything about them, how to change a diaper, anything like that. It was all learning on the fly for me.
Okay, Anthony, how old were you when you first knew the girl was pregnant?
I was 15 when I found out she was pregnant, and she had to do my son when I was 16.
You're 16? Were you guys high school lovers, or you?
Yeah, we were high school sweethearts.
And what happened? How did you end up with your son?
Well, as time went on that she was pregnant, the stress was getting to her, and she wasn't ready for the responsibility. And when the baby came, she came by one day, dropped my son off so she could go handle some business. And we never heard from her again.
How old was she?
15.
Were you living at home with your mom, or?
Yes, I was living home with my auntie.
With your auntie? How did she accept that?
Tough. She was not tough, but she was more shocked.
What did she say?
She said, "You're a man now, and you have responsibilities, and you need to take care of them."
Were there other siblings in the household?
No, I'm the only child.
So did she have other kids? Your aunt have other kids?
No.
So it's just you and her?
Just me, her, and my son.
Your son. So how are you handling it today?
A lot better today.
How old is your son now?
My son is 8 now.
He's 8 now?
Yeah.
So I've heard good things about you. You had a lot of great accomplishments. Tell me some of those things.
I graduated from high school with honors. I received my bachelor's in criminal justice, and I'm working on my master's program now.
I commend you for that. I'm very proud to see our young men strive, especially for you when you're a single dad.
Yeah.
So that makes it all of a more difference for you. So what is your son's name?
Anthony Keys, Jr.
Anthony Keys, Jr. How does he handle without being with his mom?
I won't say it doesn't matter too much, but it doesn't affect him as much because I'm always there. We do everything together. You know, I try to be the best parent I can be. I try not to reminisce about the past and worry about the future.
He ever asked anything about her?
Usually when he was a lot younger, he did, but now it's kind of, the questions are lessening now as he's getting older.
Because now I guess he feels that she's gone, she's not coming back.
Yeah.
So he's just really old enough to start focusing on his life and the things that are happening to him.
Right.
So do you still live at home with your aunt, or do you and him have your own place?
We have our own place.
Oh, that is so good. Well, Anthony, how has Miss Garcia been helping you deal with your situation?
Miss Garcia is a very huge help. She's always there when I need her, when I need to talk to someone, when I'm having difficulties. Sometimes she might even come to things, to a game or something, just to support me, just to let you know that she cares.
That is good. Did you have your mom in your life?
My mom, me and my mom were okay. We're close, but we're not close.
As far as Garcia helping you through changing steps, has it made a really big impact on the way you do things today?
Yes, Miss Garcia is very detailed and goal-oriented.
I heard that.
She makes sure everything is done on time, makes sure where you're supposed to be on time. She keeps you on a tight schedule.
And what part does God play in your life today?
God plays a huge role. I usually try to attend church every Sunday unless I'm working. I pray, because Lord knows you have to pray when when you have a child and rent and everything due. You have to turn to God. He's always listening. He's
always there for us. You know, you've had your son for 8 years, and you being a single dad at 16, and you still have him, which is a blessing itself, because too many young men, let's know women, go through that and have dealt with it so long. Yeah. But I do commend you, and I really thank you for coming here and letting us interview you today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And this next Teen Dad found out something you will not believe, but you have to stay tuned to find out what it is. For more information, or if you'd like to be on our show, contact me at 323-757-7146, or you can email me at changingstepsinc@aol.com.
Well, I had a nice childhood growing up. I have 3 older sisters and a younger brother. My dad it wasn't too much of a good relationship. He was a in and out dad, I would say. I believe it affected me a lot, because now realizing you do need a father figure as well as a mother figure in life. A lot of times when I wanted him or I needed a father, it's like, where is he at? And he wasn't there. So I did grow up with a lot of resentment. Mom, she was the best she can, I say. She was both as much as she could, which helped me out to be strong like I am. I say about 15. It was kind of like at the end of a school year, and then we had wind up, liking each other. And then I guess the experience part came in, and that's when my son came around. We was both fast and wild, and well, I was more, because I'm the man, but I was more fast and wild, and a lot of girls had liked me, so it made her go off her way from me. And when we wound up talking back to each other a little bit later, it was more like she had the situation that came up. She was pregnant, and so it was like, well, is it mine? And she wasn't sure. And so a little later on, after my son, that's when I found out that it wasn't mine. He wasn't my son. I was devastated. Like, back then, it was just like, it was real confusing, because it was like I liked her too, so I wanted to be, that to be my son, and it turned out it wasn't, and I was real confused at the time. Well, first, I went through my resentment stage and not liking, but at the time I had already grew so attached to him that it didn't even matter to me no more. It was like he was mine anyway. So I had wind up, getting my connection with him, just period, because my mom was more, the raise of the backbone, and she wasn't there no more. So like, because of the resentment, you know, he was so into it, like she was gone. So now it was like this big old responsibility because I'm like, I accept him as mine. He was mine. The biological father, I would be more looking for her or trying to, you know, get help from her if anything. I didn't know of him anyway. He wasn't in the picture. I just know it wasn't mine, and that was some other guy. I can't say what she was doing because she was gone. She wasn't a bad person. It was just when the situation took place, it just, you know, we were young. So, and I just don't know her situation now. So I was doing what I could at the time, you know, and then I was out here trying to be, you know, had a little fastness to life to me I had going on myself, so I had to kind of more experience some things, and it kind of made it kind of interesting, life interesting, because it was like, wow, I didn't know I was doing. And then I had wind up choosing a bad road in the process, and, you know, doing the bad things, you know, you got to pay your consequences. So I wind up, you know, being incarcerated, and I came back home, and then it really had opened my eyes to, hey, I have a son, I want to be here for him. It was terrible because, like, I couldn't touch my son, like, I was so far away from everything, and it was kind of like, it would more make you lose your mind. It's just, luckily for me, I didn't have to go do so long, but it was tearing me up inside, just knowing I'm in this situation, and you got responsibility out there, and he might not be being raised the way you want him, or, you know, all type of things are going through my head. So, I believe I was like 18, between 18, 19, around there. You know, my situation when I was trying to hustle and it didn't pan out right, trying to do it that way some more, it made me want to get out to do the right things. And then, so my son could see the right things and not be heading in the direction like I was wind up doing, you know, and to show him better. So it gave me a big thing to realize and step up to the plate on. If my son wants to know about his biological dad or his mother, he can come to me anytime and, you know, ask questions, and I would be gladly to share with him as much as possible to help him out in his confusion. The things that I missed out in life, I want him to just have the best in it. You know, especially in 10 years, that's short, really. So in 10 years, I'll look up and, hey, he's gonna be playing sports. But yeah, that's more where I wanna push him, because I'm also good, play sports good as myself. So I'll be a good teacher to him. Oh, I see myself in 10 years in a mansion. Well, I do see myself being successful, because right now I'm working on, you know, bettering myself and getting myself together and going to school and stuff like that. So 10 years, I see myself as a successful father. I'm really trying to be a physical ed teacher. I would like to teach sports, because I'll tell you, I do it well. So I'm doing that right now. And general studies, I want a family. I mean, to me, that's part of life, so yes. And in a relationship, not really. I'm protective of them because, you know, you can never know what the other person's thinking or got going on. So I have to take two roles. I have to make sure she's right, and then make sure he's right, and then make sure it be cool, and then make sure I'm right. So yeah, I have to protect him. The Lord ain't gonna put too much on you can't handle. So stay being a father or mother, you know, because it's not the kid's fault, and the kid really needs that in their life. So don't give up on them.
We'll be right back with more Changing Steps with Belinda. For more information, or if you'd like to be on our show, contact me at 323-757-7146, or you can email me at changingstepsinc@aol.com.
If my son wants to know about his biological dad or his mother, he can come to me anytime and, you know, ask questions, and I would be gladly to share with him as much as possible to help him out in his confusion.
Okay, how old were you when you first became a dad?
I was 16 years old. Yeah, about 16.
16. What do you have, a boy or a girl?
I have a boy.
How did you end up with him?
Well, it's kind of like a long story, but to make it short, me and my girlfriend at the time, we was kind of young and going through a little thing, and she had got pregnant, and I didn't know whether, well, she didn't know whether it was mine or not, but she had came to find out, tell me, and we had a little talk, and she was telling me like, I don't think that it's yours, because she was dealing with somebody at the time, and I was young and wild, and I was, dealing with people too, and so we kind of find out, yeah, she was pregnant, but not it wasn't my son.
Okay, did you find out it wasn't your son before he was born or
It was
after?
about probably about a little bit after he was born.
Did you have him at that time?
Yeah, we was kind of like an on and off.
What made her give him to you, or what made you take him?
No, we were more still kind of dealing together with the situation with him. We were kind of bitter towards each other.
Okay.
And she was kind of like hesitant about the situation, but she didn't want nothing to do. So
With
then,
the baby?
yeah. And so at the time, like me not knowing if it was mine or not, I was still kind of confused myself. Like,
So at this time, you still didn't know whether he was your son or not.
Right.
Okay, when you guys were going through the issue of you getting him. Okay.
Right. And so then, kind of find out, now me and him had wind up getting attached because I was still dealing with him, in the time. So we wind up getting attached. And when I found out he wasn't mine, and that's when it was kind of like, it was heartbreaking to me. And
Because you had grown a bond with him, an emotional bond.
Right.
Did she like bring him to your house, say, hey, you know what, I'm leaving, you take him? Or you saw her, or something happened to where you went and got him? How did you end up with him?
It was, we always talked. We would still talk. We had communication, and she was telling me like,
She just wasn't ready
Yeah.
to be a mom yet.
Yeah.
So
It
she gave,
wasn't-
at
it
the
wasn't
time
the
you
time.
took him, you were 16. Were you living with someone else? Or were
yeah, I
you
was
the
living
only
with
one?
my mom. I was
Okay,
living with my
how
mom.
did it impact your family or the household that you were in?
It was goods and bads because one, like family, they come out and help, in most terrible situations. And that was kind of good for me because I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah, being 16 is very hard.
And so overall, my family, they took him in because, he's a real good kid, period.
And at that time, who's going to put a baby out?
Right. And then I had, it kind of brought me and my mom bond a little
Closer together.
Yeah.
And how old is he now?
Well, now he's 8.
Does the lady or your son's mom have anything to do with him in his life today?
You could say, yeah.
Is it a big part or a little part?
It's I'll say more a big part.
So he basically knows who his mother is.
Right.
But she still in all these years haven't been ready to come and say, hey, I want my son back.
Nah. And I don't think I'm kind of ready for that just yet myself.
After 8 years, I don't think you'll ever be ready because in a couple more years, he'll be grown.
Right.
Do you have any other kids?
No.
No, just one?
Just one.
Did she start a whole new family?
I don't really too much know on her side because the communication is it's not that much, but it's just enough
But it's
to
just
where
that you don't know whether she has other kids or not.
Right.
But you just know that she does talk to him periodically.
Right.
How does he feel about her?
Oh, I mean, it's kids, so he's still going.
Okay, he asked like, Dad,
Yeah,
is
he asked
mom
questions.
gonna ever come get me, or is she gonna let me live with her?
Yeah, he wants to see her, like
More
normal
than he
kids.
does.
Yeah, he want to
Yeah,
see
because
them.
that's the maternal instinct. Kids want to be with their moms.
Both
As
sides.
well
We
as their
raised with
dads.
both. Right.
That is so good. So is your mom still helping you raise him today?
Yeah, she does, but more I'm like, looking for work and trying to do a lot of things on my own because
I talked to other young men who've had kids being teens, and I didn't ask this question, but I want to ask it of you. Being a single dad, and I know you date, have any of the women like treated your son differently?
in that aspect, I don't really too much bring females around unless I feel as though they're ready.
Okay.
Because, I don't want to wind up opening my son up to somebody
it
who
don't
is like that.
last.
Or they are a person who don't want to accept us,
They want you, but not the child.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
So-
it happens, and that's why I asked you, because I know in female relationship, when women have kids, they get men who want the woman, but they don't want the kids.
Right.
So that's why I asked, because I'm quite sure eventually, one time or another, you're going to run across that. And I just want to know if you have already, and how did you feel about that?
Yeah. No, it's I had to kind of come to realize dealing with somebody like that, I got to understand and respect their feelings of the situation too. You know, basically place myself in their shoes. So that would kind of help me easy to see, okay, well now it's not the time to bring them around, or okay, maybe I can bring them around to say hi, introduce them as a friend or something. But overall,
because at the end of the day, that is still your son.
right?
And he's going to be there
you're
when these females come and go.
Right, you're going to have to set, and they're going to have to accept them, you know, with or without. You're going to have to accept them.
Exactly, the whole package.
Right.
It's like a package deal. So, has it been really hard for you raising your son?
Yeah, it was hard. I went to a real tough time in my life where, well, you know, confusion.
Yeah.
Not wanting to accept the parent role, and then you know, I had kind of left a lot of things on my mom, you know, and I was doing the street life. I was trying to do the street life and do me too at the same time, and it turned out being bad. And I had did about a year in jail, and that's what kind of made me realize, like point blank, it's just
you
him.
could be taken away from him.
Right.
Just you know what, you were in jail for 1 year. Just think if you're out there in the streets and something happened to you,
Yeah,
and
that
you get
one
taken out of
time
his
it
life
just-
forever.
Right, it woke a lot up, and that's what made me
That's
where
so
I'm
good.
at right now.
I asked, you know, everybody that I talked to, how did God play a part in your life with you and your son?
Let's see, how can I say that? I'm gonna say he plays a big part now, because that's where I turn my life to, and that's where a lot of my visions and help, and you know, you get to realizing your blessings that come out, and especially when you start turning your life to the Lord, they come out and help you out in so many ways you don't even understand, and I say he plays a major part in my life.
Well, you know what? I am so glad to have met you, and I really have to commend you on what you've done. Number one, really commend you, because most men would not have raised somebody else's child. They wouldn't have. So that took a lot of gumption and a lot of nerve and a big man to do that. And you just don't know. I really appreciate you for what you've done. And I thank you for coming here today and sharing this with us.
Oh, thank you.
And I hope maybe this will touch some of these young men out there who's laying up having babies after babies with these women. Hey, you know what? You're going to be responsible one day for this child, so why keep doing it over and over?
Right.
You know?
And it's not the child's fault.
And it's not. You cannot blame the child for something adults do. You can't do that. And a lot of times, a lot of people don't listen to that. But I do thank you, and I wish you the best of luck. And I hope I see you again.
Thank you, me as well.
Thank you for watching the show this evening. We'll be back next week with more compelling stories from Changing Steps with Belinda.